Welcome to the show, and here are your hosts, the diabolical Elite Gaming Guru, the illustrious Red Dead Panda, and the Australian stud Ashtray Gaming. So let's get this party started. Shit.
And we are live.
Yes. Hello all, and welcome back to another episode of the Gamers Initiative podcast, episode 61, featuring myself, Elite Gaming Guru, Red Dead Panda, Ashtray Gaming, and special guest today, Boba Fett Gaming. Welcome, Boba Fett.
Yay!
Yo. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. Glad to be
let's go
here.
on, tell us all about it. Talk us through your week, your entire
My week? Oh,
Days out.
work.
What'd
Nothing
you
but
have for
work.
breakfast?
So, got to eat. I've had 2 coffees, so
And we are
excited
live.
to get into some topics. I've been struggling
Yes.
to keep up with the news
Hello
this
all,
week,
and
but
welcome back to another
glad to be
episode
here.
of the
I've got
Gamers
some close
Initiative. We're just
friends.
talking about you.
Topics. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to be here with some close friends in Ashtray and Red Dead, and a great guest in Elite.
Hey!
I love how Elite is our guest this
Oh,
week.
did I say guest? My bad. Too early to talk
forgot.
smack. I'm all new to this.
I
You
like
can
it.
talk
'cause you're on
smack
smack.
all you want.
We got
Thanks
the
for
better
having
sister in the crowd, everyone. Yeah, shout out to Coral, the better sister. Yeah.
She's in the chat.
Hey, Carl, here
Thanks.
she is.
Thanks.
C-roll.
That's because I trash talked you this morning. And he's like, I knew we should have had the other sister on the podcast.
Better.
I appreciate it. Shout out to C-Roll, who's in the chat. I will be seeing her later today. Can't wait.
Who's got a big shout? Oh, go on. Sorry, go on, Carol.
I was just going to ask Boba Fett, what have you been playing this week?
A little bit of everything. We played some Halo last night, as you know. Bit of Fall Guys, just jumping around a bit. Obviously, jump in here and there. Play a bit of Fortnite with Ashtray. He loves it.
I do.
So,
He
yeah.
does.
I do. I like the character models. They get me going. That's a fact.
Pixelated Bukkake for you then later than Ashtray?
Oh yeah, that's the way I like it.
I'll see you guys on Fall Guys earlier. I was going to join you.
It's
but
good
I
fun.
got it downloaded.
Well, we were
So I
like,
didn't-
there's a chance that Elite could join us. Let's go play Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fall Guys is actually pretty good, and I don't rage quit
Yeah.
or get upset, so that's a big positive.
Is it
for
in Game
me.
Pass?
It's
It's
no,
free to
it's just
play.
free
No,
to
it's
play.
free
So
to
go to
play.
the store.
That's why I did ask last week. I'm going to look for it. I've been
muppet.
looking in Game Pass. I can't find it.
She.
Yeah, she.
Ashtray
I spent
Gaming.
3 hours looking for it in Game Pass. Oh, yeah.
What have you been up to this week?
Pretty much the same as Bobo because we hang out quite a lot actually. So
Okay, Red, what have you been up to then?
Oh,
she's been hanging around with us. So
yeah, man.
yeah, it's just you all by yourself.
All the cool
No,
kids
go on,
over
bruv.
here, boy.
Sorry, bruv. Go on. What were you going to say? Go on.
Yeah, no, same. Look, the same games really. In and out of Fortnite, Halo multiplayer, which really upsets me. That game. I'm getting better. Guys have been helping me get better, so that's good. But I get frustrated very easily with that game. I've just been jumping in and out of everything all week. I tried that new Dragon game. I keep forgetting the name of it. But I played through some of that last night just through a tutorial. It teaches you how to fly and boost and pivot and shoot and things like that. So it's a free-to-play game. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's the only downgrade to it or downside to it is that it only runs at like 30 because it's a bit blurry. But the mechanics are pretty good. So yeah, other than that, I've been on Twitter a little bit. And then, just work and sleep and family. What about yourself?
Fair enough. Just quickly, shout out to everyone in the chat. Tryhard, Mr. Prosciutto, Cork, Technos, Dauntless.
Fly and boost and,
Oh my god, there's so many.
and pivot
Timmy,
and shoot
the
and
blue
things like
one.
that. So
Oh my God.
it's
Umbra, like,
a
I just
free-to-play
can't
game.
even.
I
Thank
keep
you
forgetting what
all
it's
so
called,
much.
but
Good morning or good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're watching. Kia ora.
so to it
I
is that it
have
only
been
runs
playing
at
some
like
Halo
30
as per usual
because it's a
you
bit
know,
blurry, but
I love it.
the mechanics are pretty good. So
I have been playing.
yeah, other than
Sniper
that,
Elite 4
I've been on
because
Twitter a little
my sister
bit.
downloaded it to play.
And then, just
And
work
before
and
she goes
sleep
into Sniper
and
Elite
family.
5, so I thought I should play that. And
What about
I started on
yourself?
Sniper Elite 5. Big
just
mistake
quickly
because
shout
that's such a big improvement over 4 that I'm finding it very difficult to play 4 now in comparison. Should have started on 4 because it's in Game Pass. But yeah, I've been playing that and some Fall Guys. I really need to finish that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. At all, I haven't actually finished it because I don't want to play it by myself. I want to play it with a group. So yeah, and then I've got is it Centauri? Is that the Draken game you're talking about?
That's the
Something
one.
like that.
Yep.
I need to download that because that's meant to be community game night tonight, right? I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's another game and I can't remember. You put it in chat the other day, Boba. But yeah, I've been pretty boring. I'm picking up my new car today, and so I will be gapping out of the podcast early to go sort that out. I'm not getting a procedure done of any kind to ignore these assholes in the podcast, whatever they say. But yeah, I'll come back for a little bit after that, and then the show. I mean, there's not a whole heap of topics, so it shouldn't be an overly long show. But I just want to say thank you, Boba Fett Gaming, so much for joining us this week. Really appreciate having you on, and you're a really good mate. So yeah. And Elite, what have you been playing? Nothing but Conan.
Yeah, Conan and with himself, and that's about it.
He's got to get another beer, hasn't
yeah,
he?
of
He's still
course.
fucking muted.
Of course he has. Well, I suppose we should just jump into the first topic, which
Yeah, go for
is it's just an easy topic to jump into to begin with.
I didn't realise I was muted.
Well, you were, so now I'm taking over. Sony appears to have registered a new PS5 model. Another one.
Yep.
Bobo.
Yeah, this is the third or fourth.
It's the third, I think. But yeah, Boba being our special guest. Did you read this article? Did you see this news during the week?
Yeah, it just basically looks like they're updating the radio equipment. I don't know if that's to help find intelligent life forms in the PlayStation ecosystem or no. Seriously though, I guess if it helps circumvent the current console shortage, like that's great news for people that are still trying to snag those new consoles. But a bit skeptical as far as how much a change like that's going to make as far as getting consoles on shelves for any amount of time. But I have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think consoles usually go through revisions and small tweaks and changes based on
Different SKUs,
costs. Usually it's down to cost savings, or different countries have different rules and things on
Regulatory.
Exactly. So it might be sort of part of that as well. But increasing or changing these usually just a cost saving measure, typically anyway. So it's nothing
I guess
major.
it's around parts procurement, right?
Yeah.
Because what they said, it's around to confirm the latest like radio and wireless communication equipment standards. So they're making sure that is all in line. But I think it would be nice to see a revision which actually puts a standard as the fan type. Would be nice to confirm that every single PlayStation 5 that you buy, no matter what country, where you are, that you get the same type of fan, and it's the quiet version, because you can get those different fan variations, and one PS5 might be louder than the other because of the fan type. So I reckon that should be also a focus around that. Oh my god, just being consistent, regardless of where you choose to purchase your PS5 and version you should get the same experience no matter what. Whether it's the disc version, the disc version, or the all digital edition that they have. But yeah, I mean, this is a nice, light, easy topic to get us in this morning. My phone's trying to pick up my voice apparently. And yeah, it would be nice to hear a little bit more than just random articles from Sony. That's all.
Yeah. It's interesting though that they're upgrading this 2 years into the life cycle of the console, and I haven't heard, and look, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard any revisions to the Xbox consoles at all. And you would think that with the internals that they all sort of they put together, and then it all gets signed off on, and it goes through all these different regulatory stuff, that those components would be good for a certain amount of years. So within 2 years of the cycle, I haven't researched into it and gone into it to see, well, were they using old tech that was sort of outdated, and now they had to catch up and say, well, this is the new standard, so you must be using this going forward. I don't know, but it kind of seems like that to have to update it this early on.
there probably are different SKUs coming in, like different variations for the Series S and the Series X coming out later on. But at the moment, I don't think they need to, because the last one shaved some weight off the console, made the, like, in the sense of the heatsink was smaller, and it also meant that it saved on costs. Whereas I think because the way that Xbox did their design around 2 SKUs, one a lot cheaper and one the same price as the PS5 disc version, they didn't really have to go and do a revision to try and cut costs, because they already have a cost-saving unit out there already in the market, which is already gaining momentum and legs in that market and bringing a lot of people into that ecosystem, especially in Game Pass. Yeah. So I think their side of what they did this generation was very smart, and PlayStation going with the one design, and yes, the disc version versus the discless version, they do need to look for those cost-saving measures. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as quality of life changes, like I think their time would be better spent improving the battery life on the DualSense. I think that's a big loss there. But yeah, I'd be focusing on that if I was Sony.
Yeah,
I was
100%.
gonna say this is the third revision in 2 years, and revisions happen, but I think it just does bring into question when everyone calls Sony the genius, the god, and then we're sort of only 2 years into a life cycle and it's already had 3 revisions, and Xbox hasn't, hadn't they? I'm not mocking his talent or anything, but I don't think he's on the level of genius quite yet. So that's but. I mean, what was the first revisions were the fan, which I think from day one, didn't we, Red? We said we thought the PS5, the original one, was like a beta test, because all from PlayStation to PlayStation, the first original launch ones, they the fans varied, didn't they? Almost as if they was testing different fans and different machines to see, and then they
And they were going to do a firmware update around it.
and that just seemed odd. And then obviously putting out the heatsink, which they highly rated and talked so much about how fantastic it was, only then to replace it. So yeah, I think it just seems odd. I think it comes across as the original, the PlayStation 5, the first one was a bit rushed, maybe compete with Xbox.
I mean, it's good to see that they are looking at it and looking at what they can do to make improvements and such. So kudos to them around that. But it's still, I agree, it just feels like a lot of this should have been done during R&D, and then they should have really released that console to the market, to their fan base, when it was at its level that we've seen from Sony in the past. I mean, some of the revisions in the past, like the PS3 revision, was basically because they priced themselves out of the market specifically, and didn't give gamers exactly what they wanted for the price that they were offering. And then PS4, they kind of killed it that generation, and then offered that mid-gen refresh, which
but the console wasn't great though.
It wasn't.
PS4.
I mean,
it was still suffering from heat issues, and it sounded really horrible.
Yeah, but if you look at both versions of the Xbox and the PS4 last gen, they both were just not great.
They're both crap.
And that's
both
where
consoles
the
are awful.
mid-gen refresh came in, and then you could definitely see what happened when they did the redesign for the Xbox One S, and then they did the One X, and you could definitely see that that group, the engineering team who redesigned those, and then you can kind of see the next iterative change in the design for the Series X and the Series S. They're kind of killing it in that front, but the original ones at launch day one, no.
That's what I'm saying when they say Sony's a genius. I think they're misled to think that Sony wins because they keep releasing a fantastic piece of hardware. So I don't think they are. I don't think it's the hardware which is why the PlayStation's so successful. I think it's just their marketing and their games. I don't think the hardware, is carrying it. I don't think. To be honest, I don't think the PlayStation's a particularly great piece of kit. But
I mean, try hard. I hope that you got one of the ones with the really quiet fan, and I'm glad. I mean, any PS5 is quieter than the PS4 and the PS4 Pro last generation. Just like any series console was quieter than the last generation. It's a great feat that they did that. So yeah.
I'll definitely say though that my PS4 Slim is quiet. So I don't know why compared to the Pro and the original.
It's because you never have it turned on, right?
Maybe that's what it is.
Girlfriend.
Sorry, I just kind of had to just throw that in there. Sorry.
But yeah, it actually is really quiet. Okay, it has been a while since I've turned it on, but I don't remember the fan revving up and being super loud. So they did something correct in that model, and it's just a shame they couldn't replicate that going forward. But it is what it is. I think we've kind of done that topic to death.
They just had no fan in the PS4 console. That's why you never heard any noise. There was no fan in the Slim.
Yeah.
I'm joking, guys. Clearly being a troll.
You just had that guy that blows into the controller behind it.
You blew into your console so it cooled it down. No, I'm sorry.
don't clip that. That sounds dodgy.
But yeah, moving on to our next topic. Fall Guys has reached 50 million players in 2 weeks since being released on the Xbox ecosystem, because it's been on PC and it's been on PlayStation for like 2 years now, is it? I think something like 2 years, and now it's finally come to, is it 2 years, 1 year? I can't remember. Now it's come to Xbox. They've kind of hit 50 million players, so well done to them. What do you have to say about this, Elite, since you kind of went last topic?
This went last.
Yeah,
Fall Guys.
last.
Well, you're asking the only person here that's not played it. So, but that's fantastic though, isn't it? 50 million players, free to play. That's what, it's on all platforms, isn't it? Is it not exclusive anymore? Is it? It's on all platforms. What kind of games is it like? Is it like, what's those games called? What's the little
Humans
you
Fall
play the
Flat,
little-
kind of.
Yeah,
Kinda
yeah.
like
Is it like that?
It's got that
But with
mechanic.
harder
each other,
games.
It's got that mechanic, but it's a obstacle course type game. So
Yeah.
each
Oh.
level's different, and you've got to go on seesaws, and you've got to jump through different areas and look.
And you have to play with other idiots in the game.
Oh, I'm thinking of Gang Beast. Gang Beast is on where it's like that, but you fight each other, isn't it? Is
I
it?
think so.
Yeah,
that's-
same kind of mechanic
Yeah.
again, very similar,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're fighting each other on that. But this is different. This
Yeah.
is
Well,
obstacle courses.
Yeah, but the same sort of kind of genre, sort of character. Sort of, I don't know,
similar
seems to be
looking
populous kind of things. Yeah,
It
and I
is
think,
similar
yeah,
looking.
and all these
You
style of
also-
games do tend to be very popular. I know that the Gang Beast game was massive, wasn't it? That did really well for itself. 50 million players in 2 weeks. That's fantastic. Free to play. Does it have microtransactions?
Yes.
It does. Right, there we go. That's all. Because I know people keep quoting sales matter, players don't matter. But when you've got 50 million people playing your game, you only need a quarter of that to buy the microtransactions, and there you go, you're set, really. So, yeah, brilliant, fantastic. I'm going to jump into the game, and I think it'll just gain traction, and you'll get more and more people into it. So I imagine it's one of those games you can just sort of pop into it for 30 minutes and jump back out of it again. You don't really have to commit much time, and I think that's what I like about these starter games more so, that you can just pick them up, jump in 30 minutes, jump out. Whereas sort of big campaigny style games, sometimes you need to commit at least 1 or 2 hours to them. You can't just sort of just leap in and out. So
I think the story here, and I'll let Boba jump in for a minute, but the story is, like Red said, it dropped in 2020, and within 2 weeks of being on Xbox, it's gone up to 50 million. I mean, what does that tell you? It says that the Xbox ecosystem and the players on the Xbox ecosystem are predominantly multiplayer games, which is, I don't know why I'm on there, because I like single player games, but anyway. And it's just interesting that as soon as it became free to play and it got on the Xbox ecosystem, bam, it just took off and everyone's playing it. And it's a lot of fun. But yeah, the official account tweeted it out a couple of days ago that they're absolutely in disbelief that they got 50 million players in 2 weeks. Why do you think that is, Boba?
Yeah, it's a great title. I know it's been around a while. I've
didn't
had a
realize that.
bit of time with it. But it's one of those games, like, it's just better with friends. It's not something I would play online just by myself, but it's a good title to jump in and out of with mates. And yeah, like, I'm pretty trash at it. You saw that last night.
So am I.
Struggled to get across the line a few times, but the one gripe I do have is I feel I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm bad at the game, but like the grab mechanic feels a bit off. But yeah, that's probably just me.
Yeah, see,
But
I
no,
don't
it's
use
a
that.
great addition for a free to play game, and hats off to them for hitting 50 million players that quick. But yeah, it just speaks volumes to how social the Xbox platform is and how we kind of band together and play together.
And Yeah,
For
I mean,
sure.
it would be nice to see like what the player base was before it launched on Xbox, because I mean it's probably out there and I didn't look into it enough. Does anyone in the chat know? Um, Other Zinc says the only reason he's here is so I can say the word rubbish. Rubbish. Yeah. Appreciate you coming in today, joining the chat. Other Zinc, love to have you. But I think it's really important just to kind of show you, as much as people want to talk about exclusives, the more platforms that a game is available on, the more likely it is to succeed. What was that Cliffy B game, like Lawbreakers or something? And he released
Yeah,
it exclusively on PlayStation, and it died.
died.
Very quickly.
I guess part of that is like, where do you choose to put your resources in when you've got a limited amount of money to design a game, and what's the highest amount of people you want to reach? And last generation, that was the PS4 fan base for console. But this generation is completely different. And yes, they had Fall Guys for 2 years, and Fall Guys was on PC and such. But just goes to show you, like, as Xbox gamers, just because a game launched on PlayStation first does not mean we're going to sit there and trash it and not play the game once it launches on our own console. We are gamers at the end of the day, and if the game is fun, and it looked a lot of fun, and we are a community where we choose to play online games together, whether it's community game night, whether we just jump into parties playing single player games and talking trash. You've got that instantly there where everyone's kind of accepting, and like, if we can all play a game together, we'll all play a game together. And I think that's the big thing, is like just showing how much our community likes to support games and actually come together and play games together. 50 million players, well done to the developers for Fall Guys. And it shouldn't, it's like when Halo launched, and when oh my god, Forza Horizon 5 launched, and you just heard like they got up to like 20 million players. That's insane for that. And that was on two platforms. That was PC and on console, on Xbox. So imagine what happens when you stop just focusing on exclusives and you focus on player engagement and getting those players up. Yes, there are always going to be exclusives, because that's kind of what encourages people to pick a specific platform. But the point is, removing those barriers and removing that additional barrier for this game has paid dividends, considering it's free to play, and they need a lot of gamers to be playing that game, and also to be spending money for microtransactions or the fucking season pass, etc., so they can keep making content and keep people engaged, and so on and so forth. It's a really fun game. I suck at it. I haven't won a single round of it at all, like actually got a crown or anything like that. But I have enjoyed playing it, because I just laugh at how ridiculous some of the levels are and how stupid some people are at playing the game. They basically just fight against each other. It's really entertaining. Yeah. Ashtray, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, look, kind of off the bat of what I said earlier, is just that the Xbox ecosystem tend to play multiplayer games, and it sort of shows if they've jumped up that quick. I mean, it's like you mentioned, Forza Horizon 5, that's over 21 million players now worldwide. So it keeps growing. It's growing and growing and growing. So we all tend to jump onto multiplayer games, especially when they're fun like this. It's something that you don't have to sort of learn. You just jump in and start playing it, and you pretty much figure it out pretty quick. It's the levels that you've got to sort of navigate and figure out which is best course of action for you to take and things like that. But it's colourful, it's fun, it's for all ages. There's no age limit to it, so you're going to get a large group of people playing it. And yeah, it's just fun. I mean, there's not much more I can really say about it other than that.
Well, I mean, look at Among Us, that game. Especially since they fixed the servers on I hope they fixed it everywhere. We've been playing a lot more of Among Us, because you can do that for community game night, get 15 people in, and you can even set up custom games for Fall Guys, but you need to have at least 10 players. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to do that, but it's just nice to have the opportunity to do that and actually get a whole group of people playing those games together and having a bunch of laughs, and like bringing gaming back to its core, which is us talking about games that we love and enjoying ourselves. And I feel like a lot of that is lost in the console war crap that's on Twitter, because they're so focused on plastic boxes that they forget that gaming is where it's at, and enjoying gaming is why we game. Like, other than that, like, if you don't enjoy it, why do you have a console?
Yeah.
Why do you have a PC? Yeah.
Indeed. All right, guys, you are listening to the Gamers Initiative podcast with Elite Gaming Guru, Ashtray Gaming, and Red Dead Panda with our special guest, Boba Fett.
I just want to do a shout out to Shizno, who's driving. Hello, Shizno. Welcome. Thanks for joining us now. We understand you can't type and stuff, so enjoy listening. Well, maybe I'll put on my sexy.
I don't know why you said
Driving
special
voice.
guest
Go get
Boba. Isn't
batteries.
he? I thought special guest Elite was on tonight.
Batteries. Go get
Yeah.
batteries.
I don't know why you guys keep referring to me as special. Are you trying to say something?
After the way you played Fall Guys last night, I think special guest
The
Boba
game
is
is savage.
pretty
It's stuck in
adequate.
This childish little rapper, like, oh, this is gonna be fun to play, and it's just savage and brutal. End of the day.
Like Red. The rumoured GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption remasters have apparently been axed. Says a source. We've got the source here. Good. That's I'm just going to jump in straight away. But Bob, let's go to Bob first. Bob, what you got to say this about those remasters being dropped, being axed? That's rumoured though. What's your opinion on those games being remastered? Go.
It's honestly for the better. Like we know everyone's itching to play the latest Grand Theft Auto. Like there's something special about jumping into a fresh title like that.
Mhm.
And given the poor launch of the trilogy, like I got sucked into that, and I got a fair bit of regret. I've got to admit, like I didn't pay cash. I had some Microsoft reward points sitting there, so I don't feel too bad about it. But I was seriously let down. But yeah, it didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. But that's Rockstar being Rockstar. Like with the life cycle of GTA, the latest GTA title, like I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't come for another 3-4 years. Like they do what they do, and they milk every penny out of us gamers. I don't know. Maybe shark cards have dropped off drastically, and that's going to be their focus going forward. They're realizing that people want something new, and I don't know. I'm really looking forward to GTA 6. So I hope these rumors are true, and that this comes to fruition sooner than later.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to see a remake or a remaster of Red Dead Redemption, because that game was really good. To get it, in 4K and up-res graphics and all that kind of stuff would be pretty cool. But a GTA 4, I don't really think it needs it. I mean, it's a bit soft in the graphics. It's a bit sort of, blurry, for lack of a better word. But that had, and everyone, and you'll see it on the internet, that had better mechanics than GTA 5. So I don't think it really needs a remaster. It's a lot of time and effort for devs to sit there and go back through or rebuild it from scratch when they could be focusing all their efforts on GTA 6. And that's what everyone wants.
Did Red Dead 1 get the Xbox backwards
Yes.
compatibility treatment?
It did indeed.
Oh, it did. Okay. Oh,
Yep.
that's good. I mean, I think for console, when you're looking at that, console's the only one, because PC you can just up your
Settings.
graphical settings, and when you improve your GPU and CPU on your console, PC, you can just up it again. Where's my brain at this morning? And but like for PlayStation, maybe. But I think you're right. I think both of you guys are right around they're milking the hell out of this, and I think we don't need it. I'm actually kind of glad to hear it got axed, because I feel like new IP or new storyline and such, if you haven't gone and played that game, because what is it? We got told a lot by a specific part of the gaming ecosystem or community that they don't play old games. I know that people do love number 4 for GTA 4 and Red Dead 1, but like it would be nice to see what comes next. Like even Red Dead 2, which is going to be another topic that we're talking about shortly. Well, I won't be here for that topic, but they'll talk about it. That's getting some love. But if you, words. One day, guys. I think
It's
if you
early. It's early.
yeah, it's
We're still
early.
waking
It's
up.
early. I had a migraine last night, so I'm still still iffy this morning from it. So apologies, guys, if I sound a bit incoherent. But basically, like they used that remaster trilogy as a test to kind of see if they could do this. And yes, it might have sold 10 million copies over the space of 3 months. However, the reception from the fans, the fact that it was so low scoring in Metacritic, and yes, Metacritic isn't a great baseline for that, but that just gives you an idea, because you can't always trust Metacritic. but like the fans, the user scores, the actual Metacritic score were all low. And so basically, as they really effed up on that, it looks like as a result of that, they've decided to axe both the remasters for those two games, GTA 4 and Red Dead 1. And kudos to them, because all they seem to be doing is redoing GTA 5, and I'm kind of over it. Like, the amount of times GTA 5 has launched, it's kind of like how, yes, Skyrim's this great game, but the amount of times Skyrim has been put on a console and such, it's like, we want the next version. We want to see what you can do now, with like better graphics, better consoles, better performance, etc., etc., etc. And so GTA 6 is what I guess everyone else is looking out for. Red Dead 2 maybe, in the sense of getting Series X and Series S treatment and PS5 treatment, which we'll talk about later. But like, even if there's another Red Dead game, it's like, what's the next step? And a lot of us gamers are wanting that. Unless the game is like 20 years old, then yes, you're probably going to want to redo it at that point, if there is enough of a push from the community and it's something that they're asking for big time. But I don't really think anyone's asking specifically for remasters of those games at this point. There's so many games out there at the moment, and a lot of us are vying for new content. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about it. I feel like I cut you off, Ashtray, as per usual, because I'm an asshole.
Yeah, but I'm used to that, so that's fine. But no, exactly. I mean, you sort of said exactly what I was going to anyway. We're better off getting new games. So Red Dead 3, I'm looking forward to that, as opposed to just, I mean, I can still play Red Dead Redemption 1. And like you said, it has the boost and that done on Xbox side. So it's already there. I've already played it. I'm happy to play that version of it. And I don't need a shiny upgrade. But I would like a new game altogether, which they're probably working on, but that's going to be years away, knowing Rockstar. So, but to try and do these remasters, I don't know really if the trilogy was to test the waters, maybe not. But I know I was sort of, at least for GTA 3, because that's still one of my favorite games. I always played that every year. On my OG Xbox, and I always get frustrated because it's so dated now that you couldn't move the camera around and things like that. So I was actually always hoping, can they make a remaster of this game? And they did. So I played it, and I've really enjoyed the improvements based on the old games. So for me, it was good. I haven't played through the others yet. They're kind of just there, and I'm not sort of too fussed, but I can jump into them at any point. But GTA 3 was the one I really wanted to get, so I'm not disappointed in it. I mean, I don't know if you guys can remember, but when they first launched it, the rain was just so hard you couldn't really see anything, so they actually had to go back into the game and update it to remove the amount of rain and how hard it was on the screen, because you just couldn't see anything, and just things like that, which was a bit sort of lame. But the gameplay itself has pretty much stayed true to what the original game was, and it's just obviously got the improved graphics and lighting and all that kind of stuff. So, but it still holds true to the original game. And look, that's all well and good, but to do GTA 4 and the first Red Dead, I don't see it being a necessary thing. And I've said this before, but the video games industry is sort of taking a leaf out of the movie industry book, where it's all superhero games and friggin' remakes and remasters all the time. So it starts to get a little bit
samey.
Yeah, exactly. And I like to see new stuff, new
That's
content.
what I like about
new
indie games.
Yeah,
They really,
and
they really...
I'm glad we've got that, right?
Yep.
Makes a big difference, choice and options and stuff like that. So.
All right, I just want to quickly say shout out to the 22 people in the chat. You're watching episode 61 of the Gamers Initiative podcast. If you're enjoying this, hit that like button, share it out. We appreciate you guys showing up every week. The reason why I'm saying this anyway is because I'm about to head out, and I will be back a little bit later, probably to get the tail end of the show. But I leave you in the great hands of Ashtray Gaming, Boba Fett Gaming as our guest, and EliteGamingGuru. There's a lot of gaming in there.
I
just realised.
Do you think
except one of us?
Do you think this should be about video games?
Yeah, maybe.
Real
TV. The real gamers all have gaming in their name. So that just leaves me out in the cold as Red Dead Panda. All right. But have a great rest of the show, guys, and thank you to the chat who are watching. As always, you'll hear back from me later, but have a great rest of your day.
No worries. Thanks for coming. Thanks for
Bye.
joining us.
See ya.
Bye. See ya. Go on, quick. Anyway, I was gonna say I think we should just spend a moment appreciating the gameplay you got in front of your face right now. Dedicated. That's right. Yeah, it's fantastic. For a moment, you was like just sitting there, you can't even move it.
Yeah, I know. I noticed, and I had to, But this is the car that's on screen now. That's how you get to work, isn't it? Elite?
Yeah,
that's your car.
Is that Post and Pat's car?
Yeah, this is Forza Horizon 5. Most of it, there was a couple of races in there, but it's usually me just fucking around, driving all over the place. So, but I'm more than happy to switch it up. We've got some Sea of Thieves footage and a couple of other games that I'll switch over to.
Maybe we should let the panel decide. Let them vote on it.
Okay, sure.
I mean, not the panel. Not the panel, the chat.
Oh, is that what we're going to do? Rock, paper, scissors? How's that work?
Yeah. Just in our heads. I got a rock. Believe me. Right. I was just going to say on this, while we're on this point, because I'll see on Twitter today, MBG, where his name is, was talking about Blue Point, saying, where do you think what game they're going to do next? And there was like all the PS fans are going, I'd like to see this remastered, this remastered. And I found it quite incredible actually that people are so hyped and so looking forward to more remasters. Personally, I don't like them. I just don't like them. Unless you do basically like what I did with Halo Master Chief, which they were, firstly, they were quite old games, weren't they, some of them? Mm-hmm. And two, they remastered the whole lot, gave away just one bundle for just one price. Like I think it was $60 or £60 for the all 3 games, plus you got the Halo 5. Was it Halo 5 at the time? Might have been Halo 5 sort of entry, didn't you? Sort of a demo of it. Unless they do something like that, I don't think remasters are a good approach to gaming. Really, I don't think they should promote it. So yeah, I really don't care for the remasters. I just don't care. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough. Some games deserve it. Some games
it was really old.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, and the mechanics need to be just brought forward, and sort of try and keep that original sort of gameplay style, but just
we're talking about 10 years plus the game is, but when you're talking games that have been remastered and they're like 1 or 2 years old, or even just 5 years old, I think that's awful. I think that is just milking. That's just laziness.
Yeah. So. Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, we may as well transition into the next topic. Elite.
Super mega transition. Former Bungie director Paul Bertone. We need to do that. We need to do transition. Everyone do it and add that as a thingy. Has returned to Halo. Former Bungie director Paul Bertone has returned to Halo, joining 343 Industries as the technical design director. So they've got him in to help Halo Infinite basically, because I think they don't know what they're doing at this stage. Boba Fett. Over to you, Cornish. Halo Infinite is definitively your most favourite game, so you lead on this.
Yeah, Halo's always been like a top 3 IP for me. One of my favorite franchises. For Joe Staten to announce this says volumes. And I have a lot of respect for Paul. He's been in the industry for a long time. I think he's approaching about 20 years now, and the majority of that time he's been working on Halo. Like back in the Bungie days. So yeah, from Combat Evolved all the way up to, what would that be, Halo Reach. So he's certainly qualified for the position. He's got the passion. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see Paul join the ranks of 343. But this feels like, what do I want to say? Gives me that vibe of getting back with your ex. 343 is doing that, especially given how 343 said they were very hesitant to add Bungie developers to the team, and it just kind of speaks volume as to, in my opinion, how they're struggling to keep their head above water. So I have full faith in Joe Staten and him bringing Paul on board. I'm really excited. I really hope that Paul's addition to the team translates to a better game sooner than later. So yeah, there's a few things to fix, and hopefully he can get those teams to coordinate a bit better and get some stuff done.
Do you think Phil stepped in and said, "Shut it, 343, Paul's joining you or else"? Do you think he stepped in? Or do you think...
I reckon, you
'Cause
know what?
what-
Yeah, I reckon you're right. I reckon there's something's going on. They've had meetings and essentially they've gone, all right, guys, we need to fix this. We need to make sure that we don't lose this franchise. We need to bring it back to its sort of heyday. What do we need to do that? All right, so, you know, is it to bring people back from the old Bungie? Is it to do, you know, and they've sat down, they've had meetings about it, and they've worked on it, and they've obviously approached him and probably other people behind the scenes to go, look, we need your help. This isn't working for us. We need assistance in these departments. And I mean, lead technical. I don't know what technical design director actually does. If anyone in the chat knows, that'd be great. Let me know. I'm assuming it's got something to do breaching the mechanics with the art style or the art style, I guess. So if someone can let me know how that sort of works, but they've obviously got issues in that department, and they've got him back to help bring that back to its former glory, in my opinion. So hopefully we see a lot more of this sort of thing. Hopefully we see more people come back. But not only that, I think they need to switch up who is actually there. I think there's probably a lot of people that are in the way that aren't helping. They probably either need to resign, step down, or move aside. And again, sort of that Joseph Staten's sort of, he's the one to announce this. That could also lead into, why didn't Bonnie Ross announce it? He's announced it, so maybe there's already a shift happening. That they haven't announced yet, or that they're not going to announce, but it's just going to happen sort of on a natural way. So, look, it can't be any worse than what it is. I mean, it could be, I guess, but I doubt it. If they're bringing back former Bungie employees, people that made the game what it was, they're obviously trying to rekindle that and get that back on track. So, all this sort of thing is positive in my eyes. Elite, you don't really play Halo though, do you?
I've never been a big fan of Halo. I think Halo Infinite's probably the most one I've played. And I just want to say, because Cork said Halo Infinite is a mess. I wouldn't say it's a mess, because the gameplay is great. The game is fun, and the gameplay is great. I think the only issue is basically content. They're not keeping the content enough. There's not enough content there. I think that's basically its only fault, because the campaign's fine. As I said, the gameplay is fine, the mechanics are fine. I think it is just really just content that it's missing. So, you know, I think a mess is a strong word. But I was just wondering on this point is if Paul decided to leave before or after Sony purchased Bungie, which would be interesting, because obviously they own Bungie now, and if he sort of left, did he leave after the purchase, or was this already in sort of, you know,
I don't know. I don't know if he was still working for Bungie, or if he'd sort of moved on to something else, or retired, or what. Who knows? But
retired and paid him out of retirement.
Maybe
come out of retirement and help 343 do something. Yeah, it's interesting to see if it does make any difference. I mean, they've got a lot to do. They've already sort of shown us a roadmap anyway, that where they got their head. And this year we've still got co-op to drop, haven't we? And Forge, and then there's a load more maps coming out this year, isn't there? So.
Well, that's yet to be seen. Who actually knows?
Yeah. It is confusing that they've not just assigned people to just your one job. That you got a group of them. Just your one job is to make maps. Just make maps and just keep the game fresh. You guys just sort out the cup. You guys just work on Forge. You know, it does seem a bit. That's the only thing. It doesn't seem a bit. People don't know what they're doing at the moment, and this just seems to be unclear on what's being done. So
well, yeah, I mean, it's been mentioned that they've had a lot of developers just being hired to do a job, and then they leave and go off do something else. And then they were talking recently about the melee mechanic somehow broke in the latest update and isn't quite as responsive or you know, as magnetic as it's supposed to be. Yeah, and they're trying to track down the developer or developers that sort of worked on that mechanic. I mean, see, this is the thing. They're a huge studio, and they've had a ton of contractors also part of it. I mean, what do you expect? You know, they need to have a solid team. Without, I mean, look, I know there's going to be different developers come and go all the time on different projects and parts of the games, I guess, but try and limit that for something like Halo, where you've got a dedicated team, I mean, again, Bungie, smaller team, they were dedicated to the game, and they were able to work on it regardless. And if there's issues, they just fix it as they went and whatever. But I don't know. Sometimes what I'm trying to say is I think sometimes when you got a huge team and you got a whole lot of contractors, it actually counteracts what your goal is. I think having too many people involved makes it more convoluted and harder to work with. And you're seeing all these problems. Plus, you need direction. If they're not getting proper direction, and teams aren't working in line with each other, and the graphics guys and the mechanic guys are all working on different things, and they're not working in sync to release something at the right time or get it to work cohesively, there's your problem. And so I think maybe, I don't know, divide the teams up, put someone else on another game, and try and get that team a little bit smaller and a bit more cohesive together. Something needs to happen. Obviously, they're going to be working on it. They've hired this guy back again to assist with the project. So they're doing stuff, and there's probably more to come out of this. But this is the first sort of thing that we're seeing. Some changes going forward, and hopefully they're all positive.
Yeah, it feels like there's a real disconnect between the teams. So hopefully Paul can help bridge that gap, because I feel like that's really where stuff's getting lost in translation. And yeah, it's sad to see that. Like for me, season 2 really broke it for me, and the lack of content only makes those issues like desync and rubber banding and all those little things more glaring because of the lack of content. So hopefully all this stuff gets sorted out,
Totally
because we
agree.
deserve a good Halo. Yeah.
100%. Do you think they're going to continue with this 10-year plan, or do you think they're going to sort of quietly sort of scrap it and start again?
I'm just hoping Halo Infinite gets finished in the next 10 years, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's it. Exactly.
No.
All right. Well, again, guys, you're listening to the Gamers Initiative podcast. Red has stepped away. She's a very lucky girl. She's going to get her new car. So she's left us, guys, here to run the show. So good luck with that. But anyway, new topic, Elite. What is that one? What are we up to?
So Red Dead Redemption 2 is reportedly coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X consoles. So I read the source supplied here, and it's slightly different news on the remasters. This is that they're just bringing natively to the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 with just an update. So perhaps that's the route they're taking. That's why they just dropped wasting money on a remaster when the games can now be just updated to run efficiently on those consoles. So, Bob, what do you have to say about this?
I don't know. Like I've to be honest, like I haven't got up to speed on all the topics, but Red Dead 2 is an amazing game. You got to admit that's a masterpiece. That's up there with games like Witcher 3. So to be able to play that natively and on the current gen consoles, it would be great to see like how it translates. Like as it is, it has great lighting. It's sharp. It has amazing weather effects. So it's definitely something I would revisit, to jump back into Arthur Morgan and run through that open world game. Like, yeah, I would be very keen for that, especially considering Witcher 3 next gen version didn't come out. So that's something, if it dropped this year, it could really help fill that void for me. And it's definitely something I would jump into day one.
Yeah, I just want it to be 60. If it's not 60, there's no point. And I mean, because the game runs fine on my Series X. I've played it. I've loaded it up. It looks good. The load times are super long, so hopefully they can speed that up and take more advantage of the SSD in there. But we all know Rockstar games take a long time to load, generally speaking. But for me, I mean, I play through it. It's a long game. It's a slow game. It's not fast paced, as you all know, because I'm sure you've all played it before. But yeah, I think having that 60 FPS, if it comes out with that, I'll probably revisit it. I won't play through the whole story again because I've already done that. But I would jump into it and muck around and capture some footage and things like that. So that's the big one for me. It's got to be 60. Otherwise, there's not really much point in it at all.
4K 60? No, you don't.
I don't care about 4K. No, it can be 16. It can see what do you call it? 1440p is fine.
Yeah.
I don't care for native 4K. Frames over resolution for me.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
sounds me. So we finished that topic. I think we bounced on.
Yeah, look, there's not much on that
Yeah.
one. We probably should have grouped that in with with the other Rockstar stuff, but anyway, that's all right. Doesn't matter too much. Next topic is PlayStation is hiring someone to help develop new emulators for classic games. I mean, they should just get the guys that emulate them and have them on PC already. That seems to already work. So just say thanks, it's our IP, and download it and use that. There's no point. It's already been done, right?
Because Xbox has emulators, isn't it? And that's pretty much what Xbox does, isn't it? Just does that.
Essentially, yeah.
So
Yeah, I know a lot of guys run through RetroArch, I think. There's an app.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I've never tried it.
So it just seems like they seem to want to spend some money and pay someone to do a job that's already been done, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So, have we got any more to say on that? I mean, it's great that it has an emulator. It's just that it just seems a bit of a waste of money that they're paying someone to do something that's been done.
I guess it would be to help fill out their PlayStation Premium Plus tier. That could be part of the motive for that. But yeah, more games are always better. Like, yeah, it's a bit strange. Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah, they must be dry on news as well.
Well, yeah, there's not a lot going on at the moment, but like
I
said,
do have. Go on, say. Oh, go on. What was you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say, like I said, they could just download the emulated games off the internet now and just put it in their store.
Yeah, exactly. They probably want to make stuff exclusive. I don't know what they want to do.
Who knows?
Or they might want to remaster these, emulate and remaster them and recharge £20 for each one. They're emulating. I don't know. So let's we can get on some positive news on the PlayStation, or some sort of interesting news, I should say. God of War Ragnarok now has a release date, which is it the 11th for the 9th?
So yeah, the 9th of November.
9th. Oh, it's November. Oh yeah, I was reading that. Yeah. Where did I get? I thought it was September for some reason. Where did I get September from? Oh yeah, I can see it. I think that's November. Yeah, so 9th of November. That's an interesting release date. I have to say, because I think they don't usually release games so late on in the year. So I wonder if they've purposely held off there, because I know there's a load of games dropping during September and October. There's a whole bunch of games. So I wonder if they've sort of held it off and then sort of waiting for a gap where they think they might find more success. Especially Starfield's been delayed now, so I wonder if they're waiting for it to quieten down. But I mean, what you guys got to say first on this?
Well, Call of Duty, that's dropping soon, around the same time too, isn't it? Call of Duty.
I think is it October? In October. I think we got the Batman game. Yeah, that's Call of Duty. We got the Batman game. What's it? Gotham Knights. I think it's October as well, isn't it?
Skull and Bones is just before this. Skull and
Bones. October. Yeah, there's Skull and Bones. There's also that. What's the one coming to Xbox Game Pass? The High and Life. Is that October?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of games dropping in October, and I know some in September. So it looks like this November is the only window where I don't think there's anything dropping. So yeah, go on, Dastro. What else you gonna?
Yeah, well, let's see. I mean, it started off as DLC, and they've broadened it and made it a lot bigger. So I'm yet to sort of be convinced on how thorough they've gone through it. They've obviously taken an extra year already because it was supposed to launch last year. They've added an extra year time, but I mean, from what we're hearing from even games like Starfield, that 12 months is just a polishing stage. It's not building new levels and adding new stuff. It's just a polishing stage. So it's obviously already been built. I don't think it's going to be a long game. I think it's going to be a short game. I just hope it's not sort of that cut and paste like the first game was. Look, the game was fun, but there was a lot of backtracking to and from. The enemies were the same, and it was sort of, once you fight one monster, the same boss was down the road, and you fought the same guy again, just in a different skin. So hopefully it's a little bit more diverse than that. Hopefully they've got some new enemies. The gameplay, gets updated a little bit more, and hopefully it continues on the story in a bigger scope. being that it's going to be a full price game. So, you know, I'm thinking minimum, it's got to be minimum 8-hour campaign. I reckon, 8 hours is probably about the sweet spot. If it's any less than 8 hours, I think that's a bit of going to be a bit of a letdown. I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up on the PS4. You know, I don't really care for PS5 versions or anything like that. The game will still be fine. Yes, it'll be at 30, but I just hope it's not same as well. So hopefully they do something that's a little bit different from the first game. I kind of felt like Horizon Forbidden West was just too samey as the first game, which I really liked. But then, you know, I've sort of put this second one down because it's kind of like just an extension of it. And I understand people out there are going to be saying, "Oh, it's the same game. It's God of War." You know, I get that, but games need to sort of evolve as they go and not just be the same sort of stuff. It needs to evolve and change.
Yeah, exactly the same
mechanics.
setting, and obviously,
Yeah, different mechanics, different weapons. You know, add a level up system, or you know, whatever it might be that it might need just to evolve from where it was at up. So. Look, I'm sure they've looked at that and they've probably done that. So, you know, look, we'll just wait and see when it drops. Yeah, I'll pick it up and see what it's like. What about you guys? You guys going to play
I've
it?
got something to say. Bob?
I got a confession to make. I've actually never played God of War, the 2018 version. So, given the news the other day, I actually picked it up on PC. I don't know if you guys know, but I recently updated my PC, so I've got this 3080 Ti just sitting here collecting dust. I'm not trying to say that everyone knows I'm an Xbox guy, but I do have a PS4 Pro. But it seems like a waste to just let that sit there. So yeah, I want to try and smash through that before launch, and then I can jump straight into that. So yeah, I don't want to be a fraud. So picked that up yesterday and plan on getting through that in the next couple of months before that drops.
Nice. Well, you'll like it. I mean, the visuals are really good too. And if you're playing it on PC, you'll probably get it at you will get it at 60 frames, which will make it even better. But yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's not bad. Elite.
Yeah, I was just God of War. Yeah, I mean, it was as what's his face said. I can see why he said it looks like DLC. Oh, what's his name? You know, I'm going on about now. David Jeffy. I can see why he says it. Looking at the recent trailer, it does look pretty samey. But I mean, that's what you get from sequels. But what do you think then? What do you think the sales and the rating of this game will be? Do you think it will rate better than the last game? And do you think it'll sell as many? Or do you think it's going to dip?
No, I reckon it's going to dip a little bit, not by much, just a little bit. I don't think it's kind of rare nowadays to get a sequel to perform higher because people are more they critique more and they're more expecting something else. You know, what else can you give me more than the first game? And that's kind of where I'm coming from. I'm not dissing it or anything like that, but it's like, what more is there? What the experience needs to be different for me. It can't just feel like it's a continuation of the exact same thing. It needs to have that element that brings it up and makes it a new game. And I think that's what a lot of people are expecting now, not just me. And I think that's why you see Metacritic scores, and you know, it'll be the same game. You're like, well, hang on, it plays the same. Why is it lower?
Yeah.
And that's why. It's because it plays exactly the same. So
yeah, it's kind of sort of the same press. Yeah. Horizon Forbidden West got, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It just said it wasn't. It didn't bring enough.
I just want to address Cork in chat. Like, yeah, the PC is relatively new, so I haven't had a chance to game on it. I'm not just throwing money around for giggles. I do plan on playing on my PC, so don't stress, bro.
And he's going to make some videos soon too.
Yeah, I do have an anemic YouTube channel, so I need to put this thing to work. So
some homemade videos.
Oh,
shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, be your catchphrase. But anyway, back to God of War, back in the room. Yeah, what's your score you're going to get? What's the last one score? 94, was it? Chat, was it? God of War score 94? 95? 95, 94? One of those, wasn't it? Trial, let's try. Yeah, no. Yeah, what are you thinking? You think it's a score in the 90s still, but just low 90s?
No. So, yeah, 94 with a user score of 9.1. I honestly think it's going to get... I reckon it's going to be like a 90 or an 89 for... Yeah, I reckon around there. Because people, like I said, people are getting tougher.
It's 89.
Well, I mean, again, you know, everyone's getting tougher on these games and are expecting more from them. And I don't blame them. As consumers, we should get more. So, you know, look, it's either way, it's going to be huge news when it drops. It's going to be all over social media. It's going to be screenshots, videos. There's going to be console wars go fucking nuts. But we'll see. We'll wait and see. Once all that dies down, we'll see exactly how it pans out and what people really think of it.
So you think not 89, 90? I think it'd probably be I was going to say the same. I reckon 89 and 90. Bobba, what do you think? What do you think in the chat? What do you think it's scored, God of War?
If I got to go on record, I would go with 88.
88.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, look at Halo Infinite, for example. I mean, they made that more of an open world type of game. They added different elements in there. They've got a gravel hook and all that kind of stuff, and it still didn't.
Yeah, the skill tree they put into it and stuff like that. Yeah,
and it still didn't sort of get a higher score. You know, so people are just getting tougher on what their expectations are for games, and as much as the Sony guys are that side of the, you know, want this game to be the best ever, and they'll hype it up to no end. You know, the casual market dictate everything, or most things anyway. So we'll see.
Tryhard said that God of War Ragnarök is the game we needed. I just go just because the way watching the trailer, is it a co-op game?
No,
it's not. Is it? No, I just can't figure why they just didn't add co-op into it, because the way they showed the trailer, it almost implies that you can play the boy. It almost it's like they're teaming up, and some of the things they say is like they're sort of teaming up.
Well, you do as the one player, so you can actually
exactly. But that's
in terms of
it would have been so much more exciting if they made it like, because I've got a feeling the story's going to go anyway. I think because we know what's going to happen, don't we? They've already sort of said that this mythos is going to be wiped out, and then he's going to move to the Egyptian mythos, and it's going to be basically rebooted again, but in the Egyptian mythos. Don't know if you guys knew that. Have you heard that?
No.
I think it was Corey. I think it was Corey that said that ages ago when he said, well, that's where the DLC come from, didn't he? He said he originally penned this, but it was going to be originally big DLC, and then they've extended it to be a full-length game. But in the original penning, he said that the plan was to kill off this mythos and move into the Egyptian mythos. It was never going to be a trilogy in this era. So I definitely think there's something going to happen between him and his son, and I reckon his son will end up killing him or something like that, and then the story will carry on the next one. But it would have been so great. Who remembers Streets of Rage, the original one, when at the end they sort of make you fight each other? Do you remember that? Where you play through it all in sort of co-op mode all the way through it, and then at the end you're given the choice to fight each other. Do you remember that game?
I remember the game, but I don't remember that.
Yeah,
that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Right. It would have been great if they did that, if you played co-op and then you take it turns, but then in the end you're sort of pushed against each other and you have to kill each other.
Well, if that happens and Kratos dies, it'll be a friggin' uproar.
Yeah.
People will get so upset.
Why? That's when Joel died in Last of Us.
Yeah.
There was no uproar.
Yes, there was. Yeah. Fuck, mate.
Yeah. I think he will die, but it's obviously it won't last. But yeah, I think it would have just been good if they just done that, if they made it carbon stuff, and it would have been much more interesting. But yeah, sadly not. I think that's what had let it down. I think it's just going to be same old again, where he's got his son taken on. Then I know a lot of people didn't really like the son, as he got tiresome and irritating.
Yeah,
So
Atreus was a little annoying, but I mean that's what you get with kids in games. But
yeah,
he was
no,
essential to the gameplay, and they tied that part in really well. That when you're fighting one of the monsters and you're doing your own thing, you can actually use I think it was like R2 or something, and you make Atreus shoot arrows while you're doing your thing. So it kind of you do it all yourself, but it was quite necessary to have him there, and he gets better at aiming and shooting and stuff as the game goes. So if I remember that correctly, so it's actually quite important because he can help sort of stun the enemies or distract them. And it's if you don't use him, so this is for you, Boba, that you haven't played it before. If you don't use him, you find the gameplay a little bit harder, but he assists in helping you fight the enemies. So definitely utilize him.
Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with the mechanics and
Yep.
the basic storyline, but yeah, to say I've played it, like that would be a lie.
Yeah.
But I do think too it'll be interesting how the Game Awards scenario plays out for those that are big into the console war passion story. If Keeley will encourage people to send their votes in early, given the launch date, or how that plays out.
oh
Surely
yes,
it'll
they
be
best not do that. Yeah, because he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it for the past years for Xbox's games. He wouldn't do that, would he? If he moves the voting forward, that would just be that would speak a lot of volumes there because yeah, he's never done it before, and he wouldn't do it even though everyone was protesting saying push it forward, weren't they? So yeah, let's see. Otherwise, next year it's going to put him into next year's
Yeah, but we all know
game,
that if it went into
yeah.
next year, and because it's released sort of at the end of this year, it's so long
Okay,
until
got
the
it.
next people sort of forget
Yeah.
about it, and something else will come along and sort of take over. So it'll be interesting to see how Elden Ring goes because I think that will win, even though that was now going to be classes a while ago. Which kind of counteracts what I just said.
It's
But
still being played.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still being played, and it was just such big hype. Multi-platform game, so it's got bigger hype than what it would any sort of closed console game would get to. So Elden Ring will win it. And
Yeah, I agree with you because like I'm not into Demon Souls, and I gave a few a crack, and I quit him within an hour. Like I just couldn't deal with it.
Me too.
It was the difficulty level was pretty steep, but I actually didn't expect to get Elden Ring day one, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I smashed that game out. So I think that speaks volumes for my vote for Elden Ring making game of the year for to change someone like me, and for me to adopt that and actually enjoy it as much as I did. Yeah, it's a great game, in my opinion.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. Do you? Did you already ask the chat what they think the winner of the Game Awards will be? Or
the score. What the score for God of War?
Oh, you asked that, but what about the game? Who's going to win Game of Year? So, guys in the chat,
Oh, Game of the Year, yeah,
yeah,
chat.
who do you
Go on.
think? Is it going to be Elden Ring? Is it going to be? Well, is Forza Horizon 5 a part of that then?
No,
Is it eligible?
Because no, because they said last year, weren't they? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, or even Halo Infinite. You know,
Halo won't
it's
get it.
interesting. Nah, but Forza Horizon, but they said they can't get it because it's a racer for some reason.
So,
Even though I don't know.
okay.
Yeah, I know it's very. Yeah.
See, this is
it's
where
very
Red
weird.
would jump in and then talk for 5 minutes to expand it out even further.
Yeah.
But
I lost interest in the Game Awards long ago. They are clearly it's just not run properly. It's the Jeff Keighley show, I think, and I don't like it.
yeah, fair enough.
But won't go into that right now. Let's go on to our next topic. I think this is our final topic, is it? I
It
believe?
actually is our last topic for the day. But guys in the chat, if there's something that you saw during the week that you want us to talk about, just write it in the Elite's a fraud, and then put in the chat what topic you might want to hear or us talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is this?
So
our final?
Leeds handsome. So
Lies.
topic
All lies.
number 8.
8.
Xbox 360 games will no longer be part of Xbox's games with gold lineup in October.
As of October,
Does
yeah.
this make gold redundant now? Does it? Boba Fett.
Oh, sorry, I was getting a wicked leg cramp. Had to mute my mic for a sec. Why are we discussing Xbox 360 titles?
Yeah, no longer a part
No,
of
part of
Games with
Xbox Games
Gold.
with Gold.
Yeah, it's the end of an era. Like, it's a bit sad to see, to be honest. I'll just pass it off to Ashtray for a sec.
Yeah, no worries,
It's
man.
coming back. So,
Yeah, look, Games of Gold's been going downhill for quite some time now, especially since Game Pass came out. They're saying that they can't, they've sort of run out of games to put on there. I reckon it's probably due to, they say they've reached their limit of their ability to bring games. So it's probably just a licensing thing, I would think. They've gone through so many games over the last few years, and some are probably just too hard to find developing teams and things that no longer exist, and music licenses and all sorts of things are involved in the background. So they've kind of gone, all right, well, that's it. We'll cut these games out as of October. But this is a good discussion to have because, one, they tried to double Games with Gold last year. So, were they thinking of removing these games back then? They must have known something about it, and they were going to double it. So that kind of that speaks volumes right there. And then two, hopefully, and I doubt it, but hopefully the quality of the Xbox One games improve now that we're only going to be getting 2 instead of 4 games with the subscription. I still think that needs to happen. And then at some point in time, anyone that's on Gold should get rolled over into Game Pass, the basic, at no extra cost, nothing. It just rolls over, and then Gold goes away for good. But those games, while they've still got the service up, those Xbox One games need to improve. They have to put some first-party games in there. They have to, because not everyone's got Game Pass. I know we've got it, so we've got access to those games, but the people that are still on Gold and don't have Game Pass, they should be allowed to get access to those games. So I think that they need to up the quality of those Xbox One games ASAP. And if they don't do it the first time round, then straight away I'll know that it's not going to happen. But that's important if they want to keep this service going. Obviously, they're winding it down, but they still need to entice people. They still need to have something there that is worth having the Games with Gold while it's around. But who knows? It's going to take some time for them to wind it down. There must be something in the background in the system of why they can't just sort of cut it off. Maybe we're all tied to it in some way that they can't just flip it straight over to Game Pass. But you would think that they could sort of put it together as one cohesive thing. So I don't know. Elite, what do you think? Do you think they need to now up the quality of their games? And if so, what would you like to sort of see in there?
Hopefully they will just get rid of Gold anyway, merge it into Game Pass, just do away with it.
Yep.
Other than that, yes, possibly start. Maybe they just will make, because last generation was obviously they put more 360 games in it. Maybe they'll just put it up so they get rid of 360s. They will put more Xbox One games in it, maybe possibly, or just more. Just new releases in there, maybe indie games. Put indie games in there would be a good idea. I think that's what they'll probably do. But hopefully they get rid of Gold altogether. So I actually sometimes forget it even exists. I've even stopped looking at the games with Gold thing on there. I did used to download them just to sort of have the games, and some of them are sort of fun and stuff. But I just forget it. Now we've got Game Pass, it completely just bypasses me now. Completely forget it's still existent. So. Yeah, I think that's just probably maybe it's just a slow getaway, a slow sort of phase it out. Bob, back yet?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I think the what was it, Sea of Thieves gameplay gave me scurvy or something with the leg cramps all of a sudden. Need to eat a few bananas. There is the prospect of more Xbox One games being put into the service. I think that's a positive way to look at it. A lot of those 360 games really feel dated when you go back and visit them. They're a lot different when you play them these days versus back in the day. So I guess being on a positive note, we can look forward to more Xbox One titles being added. But as far as Games with Gold, half the time I don't even check what's in there. or I don't even bother to redeem them. Or yeah, sometimes I do redeem them, jump in here and there, but it's not a big thing for me, to be honest. Like if I want to play a game, I'll play a game. So as far as that part of the service, it's not a huge thing for me, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that if they're going to take 2 games out, they need to up the quality while
Yeah.
while it's still around, while it still exists. Because we don't even know if they can get rid of it altogether or not. I mean, there's got to be a reason why it's still hanging around. There has to be a reason why it's still there because no one really cares for it.
No, unless they still. We don't know what the retention is, and so many people still sub into it. I don't know. Yeah, it could be just they might be just clinging on to the last few subs they got, and waiting for them to sort of phase out. Maybe they're waiting for it to a certain point when there's only so many people in it, and then just drop it. Maybe because there might be just too many people still subscribed to it, but they can't just drop it at the moment. I don't know. Because I don't know. Maybe they might get the same backlash as what they got when they was going to shut the price up to 120. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting why it's still existent.
It's weird, isn't it? But
we said this last week, didn't we? We mentioned it. We said, why don't we just give them? Let's just give them the lower access Game Pass. Just merge them straight into that. Job done.
Yeah, exactly. But there's got to be something preventing that from happening.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't
software based?
Well, it's got to be something. Because why wouldn't you just do that from the get go? When Game Pass came out, you've got 2 tiers. You've got the base and you've got the ultimate. Why wouldn't you just move everyone over from Games with Gold over to that? And there's clearly a reason why they can't do it. There's something in the background there, and they're just obviously. I think taking these games out is also a sign of winding it down. But again, while it still exists, they need to up the quality of the games. Half of them I've never even heard of when they drop there every month. I'm like, never heard that game, never heard of that game, never heard of that game. Like, let's get some big games in there, bigger games. Even if they're old, it doesn't matter. Just get something in there that's worth having. And I think now as well by this stage, because you used to be able to, when you download the 360 games, you actually get to keep those. Whereas if you for the Xbox One games, if you get out of Games with Gold, you don't get to keep those games. So I think with this as well, any Xbox One games that are there that you can download, you should be able to keep as well. And that's just me. Maybe I want too much, but I still think so.
So you're saying you're not jumping into Beast of Maryville Island, whatever that is?
No.
It's come out this month.
So we got any other topics? Did we have? There was another topic that Red said. We said that we had that. What was that she said at the beginning? Saying some other news come out. What was that? Bums.
Don't know. We weren't listening to her as usual.
Yeah, when she jumped in, she said, "Oh, this happened." And we said, "Oh, there's a topic." There's breaking news.
Forspoken was delayed.
Oh
You
yes.
want to discuss that?
Yeah, should we just jump on that briefly?
Yeah, sure.
So, because a certain fan base were really hyping this game up and excited for it, saying Xbox has got no games because they've all been delayed. But yeah, Forspoken's been delayed. Can we blame it? I mean, this is about its 3rd delay, isn't it? And I mean, we've all seen the gameplay they showed. It looked awful, didn't it? I don't know why it's been hyped. It doesn't hold my interest whatsoever. It does look very just boring to me personally. It even looks like that game that's coming out for Xbox, doesn't it? Day one. But the Xbox game looks better. So what do you guys think about Forspoken being delayed? Do you care at all?
Look, yeah, no, not really. I mean, it's going to get delayed from October to early or mid-January next year. And the funny thing is that they did it right around the exact same time as the announcement of the God of War Ragnarök release date to try and hide it a little bit, but we all picked up on it still. So I think it was I don't know, might have been within hours of the Ragnarok announcement that they delayed Forspoken, which was interesting. They always try and soften the blow, don't they?
Yeah. It's like God of War's coming out. Forspoken's delayed.
What I saw of the gameplay, it looked very, I guess sterile is the word, but this is, when was it expected to launch? October 11th. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then originally it was beginning of the year, and then before that it was last year.
Oh
So it
yeah,
has been
May.
moved
Yeah,
several
you're right.
times. Yeah. So yes,
It's not just-
because I remember when they showed the trailer, didn't they, when it was meant to release back in May, and everyone just laughed at it. So yeah. It looks
Yeah,
awesome.
it's one of those games where I just have a wait and see approach, see what the community says, and judge for myself if it's something I want to jump into. It's not something I've really been excited since its reveal, to be honest.
Yes, that's a Windows and a PlayStation 5 exclusive, so it's not even coming to PS4. So yeah, I won't be playing it anyway because I don't have a PS5 and I'm not going to buy one. But you guys all know that about that because I say it all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot it's PlayStation 5 only. So that makes it even worse. It looked really bad for a PlayStation 5 only game. Maybe that's why they're really delaying it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it didn't look PlayStation 5 next gen only, did it? It looked last gen. It did actually look last gen. I know people always make a joke about that looks last gen, but it actually did look last gen. So yeah. Anyway, we got any more news? Anything else to talk about?
I think that's about it, sir.
Yeah, I know Cork's mentioned about the whole thing about Kojima and the Japanese president being shot and it being blamed on Kojima, but
What?
I'm not sure how much. Yeah, you not read the chat.
Blamed on
Yeah.
Kojima? How does that work?
Yeah, Japanese prime. Yeah, read away. Japanese prime minister was shot dead, and their media is showing pictures of Kojima. I don't really find it's him.
It's news to me.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's weird.
I've not heard anything about that. Yeah, that seems weird. I don't know if that was shown on Twitter and someone's just having a joke or something. I don't get. Yeah, or I don't know. I don't know. We won't go into that too much, just in case we upset someone somewhere.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. But anyway, should we just sound off then? Do
Yeah, man.
Outros. Yeah. Boba Fett, where can we find you? Tell us.
As you saw in the gameplay earlier, it's Boba Fett Oz on Xbox. You can add me. I'm pretty much on there daily, always playing something. So don't be afraid to add me on there. Boba Fett _gaming on Twitter. And I do have a YouTube channel. It's just starting. I started it 3 months ago. I think I've only got like a dozen videos. I do plan on making some more content. I might start a video today. I want to get back to like a weekly update thing, but work gets in the way a lot, and trying to find that balance between gaming and making videos. I don't want to just make videos for the sake of making them. So that's where you can find me. Thanks for having me, guys, and yeah, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for being a guest, man. Appreciate you coming along. It's been good. Very, very good. Elite, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me here, right here,
In the trash.
in this my tiny little hot room. Yeah, if you want to find me, I'm signed up on OnlyFriends. So
Only friends.
yeah, it's my new website. It's just people with no friends. Yeah, you can find me here. And on Twitter. I'd never remember my Twitter name, but it's somewhere. If you look at it, it's on the screen now. You can see it at the top left corner in green. Yeah, that's my handle. I can't even read it, to be honest. And yeah,
You need to change that. Go into your settings and change it, man.
Yeah,
Because you're elite, so make it elite.
Yeah, elite sexy pants. And I was looking at your gameplay of Full Flat, and I think I'm going to download it. It looks really good. Bob, I can understand why Bobo loves it so much. It does look incredible.
Yeah. So it's in the store.
Honestly,
it's in the store.
Yeah,
it's
I'm going to
not.
look at the store then.
Yeah, it's not in Game
Yeah.
Pass. It's in the store. It's free download. It's only a few gig. It's not a big download. And yeah, it's good fun. Jump in and we can play some
And, we can all play
after
that.
the show.
You be Bubba. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have one win under my belt, so I'm happy with that. It's a bit of a struggle trying to get there, but
But let me just say to the guys, I just want to say, guys, can you please drop a like and share, but also please jump over to the podcast, to the panels channels, Astray and Boba Fett, and drop a like and a sub if you can. It's free, it won't cost you any money. Or will it? Unless they remaster it.
Oh shit!
Shit. But yeah, please, take a moment, just jump over there and do that. So Astray, where can we find you?
Yeah.
Third one.
Yeah. So Xbox, Twitter, of course, YouTube, all Ashtray Gaming. I like to keep it all the same so I'm easy to find or easy to block. That's how I roll. I haven't made a video in a couple of weeks because there has been bugger all news to talk about. And like Boba, I'm not just going to make a video for no reason. And I prefer gaming more than making videos. So that'll always take precedence over making a video. But let's hope that we get some more news or bigger news coming out in the next few weeks so we can actually get some content out there. So that's where you can find me. And you can always find me here on the Gamers Initiative podcast every Saturday morning, my time at 7 a.m. And I don't care about the other countries' times. No, I'm kidding. It's always in the tweets that Red puts out. I think it's 5 p.m. Eastern American
Eastern.
and 10 p.m. Friday in the UK. Is that right? That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, 10 p.m. in the UK, yeah. Yeah, we should get another guest on board for next week.
Indeed.
So I think